Good evening. It's Tuesday. This show is called Club Top Shot. Sometimes we don't always talk about Top Shot. Sometimes we rarely talk about Top Shot. But tonight, I brought in two Top Shot thought leaders. We got Mike Zakarian from Team Hold. We got John Boyd Beats from Momentum Labs. And tonight, we're going to talk about their trip to Vegas for NBA Summer League, about recent Top Shot happenings, lots going on over there, and all that good stuff tonight on CTS.
I forgot about this new intro.
I know.
Wow. New intro? Someone's not tuning into Club Top Shot on Tuesdays, Mike. I mean, we've had this for a while.
I said I forgot about the new intro. This is my first time on this side of it.
You know what? I'm actually starting to get sick of your Team Hold intro because I've now gotten to the point, Mike, where I actually listen via podcasts. And so I utilize the 15-second skip button. One skip's not enough. Two skips not enough. Sometimes it takes a full 3 skips.
You need 90
to the monologue.
It's 90 seconds, baby. It's 90 seconds.
90-second intro. My God, Mike. I mean, you're really making a meal of it over there.
And now he's going to have to create another one for NFL.
I know.
That's the problem with these assets. I know, like on my Best Ball Breakfast streams on Mondays on the intro, I like the intro, but it has the Best Ball Mania 2 thing up there. People have started pointing it out, and I'm like, all right, yes, we'll update it. So I mean, we back ourselves into a corner with these bits.
Consistency. They want to make sure it's truthful.
I'm sorry, Fetty. I guess I'm just not a real Team Hold head. The real ones listen to every single second.
Real ones get it. The real ones get it.
You know what? Hear what I'll say. I can win you back. I do listen, though, still to Mike running down everyone who's in the chat. That's how you know I'm a real fan. Because I could skip over that part.
That keeps the people coming back.
Yeah. So you guys are fresh off of your trip to Vegas. How long were you guys both out there?
I got in Wednesday. Left Sunday afternoon. And then John, you got in a little bit later, right?
I rolled in Thursday night, drove out from SoCal, and then went straight to the Penthouse Thursday night, baby.
I've done both versions of that. I've done Mike's version of the East Coast, flying out, and then I've done plenty from SoCal driving. And I will say there's more. I guess both of the arriving in Vegas still is like one of the best feelings. Driving down to or flying in and seeing those lights, and then conversely, heading out of Vegas is just like you're like, what did I just do to my body, and why did I do this?
It was so bad when we landed. When we landed, 2 women, I would say in their 50s, got in a fight on the plane as we were getting off. And I think that is just like the epitome of leaving Vegas and flying back to the East Coast. It was like 1 a.m. at this point, and one was just a little pissed at how quickly the other got up when we landed, and that was the impetus for the fight. Which, honestly, wait your turn. It wasn't your turn yet. Sit down. And it was great. And I was like, we all feel this way.
That's like when you land in Vegas, everyone's like clapping and doing shots. And when you're departing Vegas, people are just like fighting
women.
I don't know if it's worse to drive home for 4.5 hours or like sit in an airport, sit on a plane. Nowadays, like 80% of the flights are getting screwed up. I mean, did you run anything, Mike? Or you got clean slate on?
No, we were good, and Kelsey was gracious enough to pick me up late too, so that made it a lot easier. So I ran pretty hot with the flights. I didn't run into any issues.
Yeah, I know I'm flying out tomorrow to Colorado, and I just checked into my flight. Everything looking good now, but I'm bracing for it. I'm like, at least I'm mentally prepared for the tilt. Like, I'm assuming something bad's going to happen. So if it doesn't, then I'm like, oh, this is a pleasant surprise.
Right. Free roll.
So tell me about what was your guys' itinerary out there? It seemed like there was a decent amount of obviously stuff, Mike, you had planned with Team Hold, stuff Top Shot had planned, stuff that you were just doing, NBA Summer League events. Paint us a scene. What was it like out there?
Well, John, I think we got to start right with the Penthouse, because I think people might have been like, oh yeah, of course, right? John Boy Beats got a Penthouse because I think so. Plus EV.
I assumed you were joking.
No, so Super Draft and Super Draft and the Judge or maybe the judge works for Super Draft. I'm not entirely sure what the relationship is.
There's a
They had
partnership somewhere in the range.
Yeah, they had a party on Thursday night that was in this like penthouse at the Cosmo that had like a balcony, which I didn't know they had balconies on tops of casinos. It felt a little dangerous, but a little cool. And then it was
frisky.
just, yeah, a little frisky. And it was a mix of like Top Shot people and fantasy people, which was it was like the fun first way to like break the ice too, because not everybody, it was like a smaller group of people. But that was a good time. That was like a good way to start, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I rolled in late. We got there like 10:30, 10:45 or whatever, and I'm just jonesing to get over there. You got to get to the hotel, you got to check in, you got to do all that crap. And then I'm starving too because I drove it with actually Jeb Bush and his dad. And I drove and they convinced me that we need to just charge through and not get anything to eat. So I'm like, Mike's like telling us, hey, come to the Penthouse party, like get here, whatever. And we're like, all right. I have to shove like a $16 overpriced hot dog down my face just to get me through the night. I'm already like started down in Vegas.
I've had that moment too where I've landed in Vegas and I know that all my friends are already like off to the races. And I'm like looking at like the Burger King and like across from my JetBlue gate being like, do I just get something now real quick? Just knowing they are not going to give me an opportunity to eat? Or what do you do? Like it is a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. And there wasn't,
cool.
They let us to believe snacks were there, and there were snacks. There was a lot of like nice cheeses. But man, we went pretty hard. That was a fun night. And I will say too, this is my first time meeting Jon in person. I had been there for a while too. I'd been at the party since like 7:30. I think Jon rolled in around like 10:30. We hung out till it was around midnight. I'm ready to call it a night. This is my second night. I'm trying to pace myself. As we're wrapping up, Jon goes, "So we gambling, boys?" In the most perfect rallying cry, and then we went and played blackjack for like the next what felt like 11 hours.
And we will get into the Top Shot stuff, but I need to. Was this the infamous blackjack dealer? You both have like teased this story to me, and and now I need to hear it.
No, that was I feel Jon, take it away. That was the last night.
Yeah,
take it away.
That's on the night out. So similar, similar way on the way out with Top Golf running pretty late, and I'm pretty sure it's a very similar rally cry. Like, so boys, last night we're not just going to bed here. We got to gamble again. TST was out there, and he was in the like purgatory spot of flight was at like 7 a.m. and it's like, okay, you're not going to go to bed for like 2 hours, so you might as well just keep her running. And he went straight from the blackjack table to the hotel room to grab his stuff to the Uber to the casino. But we're so we find this blackjack table, and it's like it was in the main MGM main MGM. So it was $25 tables everywhere. We're like, trying to get some lighter action at the 15s, and our guy DJ Local goes up to just our sweetheart dealer Niu and says, "Hey, if we got 5 guys here willing to throw it out, could we do 15?" And I don't really know what happened, but she said yes, and all of a sudden we're playing 15, and she was just a saint. She was basically playing 5 hands by herself, and we were just like supplying the money. She was.
That is what blackjack is.
No, but there was no decisions being made.
There was no decisions being made on our end. She was just like, okay, boom, next. Okay, you should hit. Oh no, don't. All right, next. And then like before, like there's a guy, Weisberg's in the middle, and he's like doing some math in his head. She's like already 2 people down, and he like goes to make a hand call. And it's like, dude, you don't even need to call it. Like, do anything at this point. She's not worried about what the cameras are picking up. She's already on to the 5th guy in line here. It was amazing.
There was a couple of times, like I think she was showing like a 7, and I had an 8, and Jon had an 8, and so she just started at hand 3. She started at scene 3. She skipped us.
She does. She's bailing you out. She knows that there's drunk people there. You guys aren't doing math, and she's just going to do the GTO for you.
It was great. It really was. That was honestly the best part of the weekend. It was so fun.
Poker Pro Eric says, "Why was it?"
Oh God.
Oh no, I was gonna say, why was it Pete Overs at the live show on stage? Look, Poker Pro Eric, I've seen the clip, and I wish I was there to join the piling on of Poker Pro Eric. I mean, was your entire live show just apparently a roast of Poker Pro Eric?
Dude, let me just say the best part of the entire show, we have Jacob come on about halfway through and we're like, Jacob, listen, man, you've taken a lot of bullshit from a lot of us on stage. Let me just give you a little runway. Get anything off your chest that you need to get. And he took a breath and the first thing he did was dunked on PPE. It was incredible. It was incredible. But yeah, it was a PPE roast. I think that's what it turned into. You know what? And as much shit as we give Poker Pro Eric, he was a really good sport about it. So as hesitant as I am to shout out Poker Pro Eric, he was a good sport.
Yeah, well, and when you end the show winning a hollow, it's pretty easy to walk away a good sport.
I haven't sent it to him yet.
And we did, Mike, you had another run-in with one of our guys, Ricky Beers. It was hilarious because you sent me a photo of you with Ricky Beers, like Ricky, the celebrity that you happened to bump into and take a photo with.
Ricky, we saw Ricky at Beer Park at the Team Hold meetup, and he was supposed to. Apparently, you said for him to ice me, and thankfully, I don't think the Beer Park supplies Smirnoff ices. And I tried to send you that photo that night with the caption, "Don't ice me, bro." But it wouldn't go through. It wouldn't go through. But yeah, Ricky Beer is awesome. It's a good hang.
He is. I'm going to pull up this photo here because I love this photo. It really does look like Mike is the world's biggest super fan. And it just got a photo with his hero, Ricky Beers. I absolutely love that.
Incredible.
Ricky is definitely known to make a quick drive over to Vegas, and he was telling us too there was a scare that night, right? They thought there was a live shooter in Vegas.
Yeah, it ended up being somebody throwing like bricks through windows, and which is still like bizarre and scary. But what ensued is it caused because we have a couple of friends who were there for the World Series of Poker that was going on at the time. People were like trampling each other in the casinos, but it happened to be when we were over at Topgolf at the MGM. So I think we all just kind of stayed there an extra hour until stuff settled down. But yeah, it was a little alarming. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I know that was scary. I saw some from poker. I think it was at Paris or whatever, where there were guys hiding underneath tables and people were getting trampled. I think Daniel Negreanu had a photo of his hand got really bloodied up. So yeah, scary situation there for sure.
That's pretty weird.
You mentioned Topgolf. I'll pull up another photo that emerged. I haven't even asked you, Mike, like what's the backstory to this photo? Was JR there with Top Shot? Is this a random run-in? What was this?
No, dude, I texted him and I was like, hey man, we're just like
just in the bay over.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, you JR? No, it was a part of Top Shot's thing. That was a part of their under promising and over delivering or whatever they say. So they did a shoot around the day before, and like Channing Frye came through. Richard Jefferson was supposed to be there too, but he had COVID. But the second night was Topgolf, and JR. JR really, he came, I think, like a half hour late, only really stayed for like 40 minutes, put down a couple what looked like coffee-esque martinis, maybe some
those are called espresso martinis.
I know, it took me a second. I couldn't get there yet. And then he bounced, but we were able to get a photo in, and you could tell by the photo we were both sweating our asses off.
Yeah,
it was humid. It was a bit humid.
It does look a little hot there. So like what was the official kind of like Top Shot programming and presence, like the events or the things they actually put on?
I think the biggest like branding one I feel like was kind of the open gym session that they had. So it was at the I almost said the Zakarian Center, but it was at the Tarkanian Center or wherever that is in Vegas.
Mike sold so many Top Shot moments that he now has a gym named
He's bought a gym in Nevada.
That's the really plus EV way to approach Top Shot, is make the Richard gym out. So yeah, we're at the Tarkanian, and they branded the crap out of it. There's posters everywhere. There's like Top Shot sticker at mid court, and there's 4 courts going. Yeah, barbershop was flying, free haircuts everywhere. They had an open snack bar. So it was just kind of a casual little hangout. They were giving away t-shirts, stickers. That's where Channing Frye was going to be, or was at, and then Jefferson too. So that was, and then people were just running 3-on-3, or we unfortunately got in a couple half full court games that probably shortened our Vegas lifespan a little bit. But yeah, I mean that was fun. And then I think then they kind of, I guess they kind of had the Top Shot section in Summer League all weekend as well. But then most of us kind of got there, or at least our crew that we were mainly with were there on Saturday for a few of those games before heading to Top Golf. So those are like I guess kind of the three big Top Shot ones.
Did they have like the booth at at the Mac Center like they did last time?
No,
Mm-mm.
no, they didn't. And that's why I was kind of funny. We were talking about this, I think privately, but a lot of the reaction, and I'm not like trying to FUD the weekend. It was so much fun. We had a good time, but a lot of the reaction on Twitter was like, holy shit, dude, Top Shot crushed the expectations. And I was like, well, it's because the expectations were they weren't going to do anything. Like that was why. Yeah. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. We really did have a lot of fun, but it wasn't really, it wasn't anything. It was like a really good time, but I wouldn't say anyone was like, holy shit, Top Shot to the moon. That being said, it seems like a lot of people have been buying since then. So,
well, and I mean, it also seemed like because I know you guys planned your live show and had a big crew, going out there, that like, to me, that at least from the outside felt like the kind of tent pole event there too. It seemed like Top Shot was kind of seeing what you guys were doing and being like, oh, okay, there is interest, there is enthusiasm, let's add some ancillary events around this, as opposed to you guys being like, oh, Top Shot's gonna have this big presence, we'll go piggyback off of this for a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of the goal like we wanted to do this anyway, but we were just planning on doing it for 40 people, right? That was like, we're like, oh, I bet we could get like 50 community members to come through for this. And then when Top Shot reached out, it made sense because of what they were doing, it made sense to partner up a little bit. And like, hopefully the goal is that the people that were there, and I know some of them are in the chat right now, and hopefully they can agree with this, but that it was I don't know, like whatever sort of in real life event they're doing, whether it's Summer League or the Christmas Day games or opening night, playoffs, whatever, or All-Star Game weekend, that having something like this, not necessarily has to be us, but something like this, like a live show, is a good call, right? It got us a chance to get everybody together. I don't know, we had like 150 or so people there, get a couple of free drinks. We get to talk to some dapper people, laugh a little bit. And then the way they ended it, which is really cool. And I don't know, Pete, if you know the Steady Breaks crew, but Steady Breaks partnered up with Top Shot to get a bunch of packs to give away. And what they did is they get like randomly selected 30 members who were there, and each member gets a team that they're designated to. And then they did pack breaks.
Nice.
And then if you hit your team, you get that moment. And they were doing like series 1 packs. They were doing a lot of really good stuff. And it was, they did and Steady Breaks did a great job, like hyping it up too. So it's just like a nice community event that I'm hopeful that it's something they would like to do in the future moving forward, not just for my and John's bags, but like for the community as well,
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I know like even last year we were ships passing in the sea with you guys. You guys were there first weekend. We were there second weekend. The No Dunks guys weren't out there last year, but we're out at the beginning this year. And it's like, I do think if we had just a little bit more advanced planning, we could get all of us to sync up. And I just think of like Club Top Shot, No Dunks, Team Hold, Shark Tank, all this stuff. We could have a sick event with fun programming and really build this out in a less disorganized way.
Yeah, I would like to think they're down for that too. It seemed like at least the people they were working with were down. I mean, Jacob came on and on the show. Janie came on the show as well and brought us all Cuban cigars, which was a nice touch.
Yeah. That was a nice touch.
It was pretty funny.
Because you've had a little bit of sometimes a public beef with some of them over there. Did you settle this behind closed doors? Was it settled on stage? The Cuban cigar was the peace offering. How did that all go?
Yeah, I guess the Cuban cigar was peace offering. I had talked to her prior to this as well. Listen, I said this to them both personal, one-on-one, and I've said it before. None of this stuff's, and you know this, Pete. Like you've said stuff that I'm sure has rubbed people. None of it's personal. Like it's never about the person. It's about like the product and the direction and stuff. So I never want to. It's never about themselves. I like all of them, and we want them to do a good job, and we believe that they're doing a good job. It's just sometimes when they're not doing something that makes sense, I don't know. I don't work for them. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of our responsibility to be like, hey man, what's going on here?
Yeah. No, I feel
that
too.
Jacob is always very forthcoming about that. He's like, hey, these guys got to keep us on our toes. You guys got to call us out. And, I kind of appreciate that. So I think they get it.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike said, like you're not on the payroll. You're not a puppet, for what they do. You're going to say what you think. And I think for all of us, it has been, it's been hard sometimes, like, because we all were like early to this and we were very, caught up in what this could be.
Right.
And so it's been, a long road these past, whatever has it been now, like 17, 18 months of ups and downs. And so it's like part of it comes with the territory, but part of it, I think has been, disenchanting at times.
Yeah. And I think like, I don't know. I mean, there's so many people came up to us while we were there too. And were like, thanks for doing this. And thanks for putting this on. And thanks for putting the show together. So it's like, it's not, again, it's coming from a place of like trying to also make the product better. And so, I'm sure there's going to be times where we butt heads a little bit. And I honestly, I mean, and you know me, Pete, I'm usually not one who, although that's probably not true. I guess I do like a little bit.
Mike, literally the night I was staying at your place before, when we were there for NFT NYC, you had to get up in the morning to address some Top Shot drama. So don't tell me you're not a drama hound. You're like, sorry. You were like, Pete, I wasn't going to do a show, but I got to get up.
I got it, dude. Well, it's because that's because I was tweeting out alpha from NFT NYC. Okay? Listen, Jack does the sources for the NBA. I do the sources for NFT NYC. Okay.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, for anyone who is confused, the show still exists. We just have lots of busy people. Jack is on the beach. I've seen the Instagram stories verifying. Andy is in Spain. Peter Jennings is doing everything he can. I'm golfing with him on Thursday, so I assume he's like cashing in, some family time tonight for just a long runway this weekend. NBL, I think, just got back from Israel. And who am I? I think that about.
I assumed Peter Jennings couldn't come back on after last week. Like, I feel like he had to take a week off, because I saw one of the most incredible slam dunks I've ever seen from Ashley after last week's show. It was just brilliant stuff.
I should pull that one up. So Pete, of course, was a little drunk and a little horned up last weekend and was talking about playing golf next to Christian McCaffrey's house. He may have or may not have seen Olivia Culpo sunbathing, told that story. Ashley, of course, you know what? It's so funny. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain with Clay and I, in our guy Zenon edited this clip, and we're like, we sure hope Ashley sees this, but we're not going to snitch. Like, you don't snitch. If she sees it, she sees it. Well, someone tagged her in the post. So, I mean, so be it. It happens.
I'm sure.
And so she posts this and says, oh, really? Go ahead and make your move, CSU Ram. Just wait until she finds out that this is your O face. So I will just say I'm forever thankful. I mean, Mike, I know Kelsey's on Twitter. I don't know if she'd ever dunk on you this hard. I'm so thankful. Yes. Lauren's not on Twitter to post photos of this you like this.
No, that was like an A+ dunk. That was so freaking good.
Oh man, that's phenomenal.
Oh my goodness. So John, what like was your like? Where were you at on? Were you satisfied with kind of the Top Shot presence? Was this kind of like, if we build it, they will come thing? It's definitely been clear from every one of you guys that you had an awesome time. But does it still leave you wanting a little bit more as far as like what Summer League could be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like from the events that they pulled off, I would like to say that it like met expectations, because like, okay, this is a huge company, right? Like a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Like they should be able to throw some pretty dope events, and like that's not taken away from the events, right? But it's like, they should be able to host some cool shit for 200, 300 people, whatever. So I think that part was like, when it was like awesome to see, and like getting to meet a lot of the Dapper employees was great, and just kind of being there for the weekend. But I think the part that like confused me a little bit was, like, when we were in the Thomas and Mack Center, there was just like pretty much nothing going on that like wasn't just the little section of Top Shot collectors hanging out. And I feel like that's just a missed opportunity a little bit, because I mean, I'm sure, they'll come out on Spaces and say this isn't a good time to bring new people in. There's like a very short 3-week window of the year. That's the best time to get collectors. But it seems like people that are willing to be there at Summer League to watch like G League and like overseas players for like, I mean, the stadiums are packed. There's a lot of people there. Like those would be pretty diehard NBA fans that would like to take a crack at Top Shot. And so it just seemed a little weird that there wasn't a whole, I got home from the trip and my father-in-law was like, oh, how'd it go? Like, was there a lot of like, marketing boosts to like try to get new users? And I was like, oh, actually, I don't think there was really. And so that kind of like threw me off a little bit. Like, why there could have been a little bit of push to like grab some people and sign them up and rip some packs.
Yeah. And do you think it's like, because you see this across the NFT space right now, right? Like everyone's tightening up, their budgets, entering a bear market. You could have had, we were joking about it at NFT NYC with the 4-hour happy hours condensed to 1 hour happy hours. I mean, do you think that's an element of it? Or do you think this is just, they have so much going on and they haven't dedicated resources toward event planning?
Well, they haven't talked about it yet either, and I don't know if this will get me back into hot water, but I know that Dapper's had some or Top Shot specifically has had some people I don't know if it's layoffs or it seems like there's a handful of people that have left recently, and so I don't know, maybe they are just refocusing, restructuring finances or their resources towards a specific direction. I know it's something that Janie kept saying during the live show is that they have they're basically series 4s for a reset. So I don't know if they're ready to just release the hounds and just let just go nuts with marketing and stuff. I don't know if they're focusing way more on who their users are now. What does the min count make sense for the users that are here? So I don't really know. I don't think we've gotten we've gotten a lot. I will say, I don't want it to seem like a FUD zone. I will say it seems like they're saying the right things. I don't know what exactly they're doing with what they're saying, but they are saying the right things, right, John? I think you'd agree with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that stuck out to me when we called Janie up on stage is, and we kind of, I don't remember if there was a pointed question or we gave her the floor or whatever, but one of the things she brought up is, hey, we're looking to make S4, we're looking to have S4 kind of make up for some of the mistakes in Series 3, which I kind of remember they said that about Series 3 too, but before it started, but we'll put that aside for now. And she also said that they're willing to kind of put away, or they're willing to set aside some of their revenue goals if it means I don't know, holding to their core product goals or whatever. So I thought that was a valuable piece of information, that because at times when especially when they went into the mixed packs zone where it was every week there's just 100,000 packs for sale and it was just sucking money out of everybody, that it seemed okay, there's just a revenue machine here at work that needs to keep churning in order for them to meet their VC goals, and it doesn't really matter what's going on with the market and people's accounts and stuff like that. And so having her kind of, I don't know, speak to that a little bit. And I think even Jacob had some points that kind of led to, we realized that we made some mistakes in Series 3, I think is at least promising to hear, that it's not just going to kind of keep going and we'll see moments minted into oblivion. So I don't know. I thought that was positive for sure. And hearing that it's not just, fully going to be revenue goals only for Series 4, I think is decent.
How do you guys because I think it's hard. How do you guys judge Top Shot right now in a bear market? And I know we've had a slight uptick with some stuff recently, Ethereum going up a bit, Top Shot going up a bit, but everything's easy to say it's going well in a bull market, but what are the things that you benchmark Top Shot success in a time like this?
I feel like John will have better answers for this, measured answers, and mine's more emotional. I just when they don't have to walk stuff back, or I think that was my biggest frustration. I'm comfortable when things aren't always going up. When stuff goes down, I'm like, oh, whatever. This is part of it. This, no matter what I invest in, this is going to happen at some point, and I'm enjoying this. But I think for me, it was issues in just, whether it was weird communications going out, you were learning some stuff on spaces that weren't official. And then other people were having advantages because they just didn't figure out, they just didn't know how to get information out. I think it was, and that was kind of bizarre. And this is months ago. This hasn't been the case for a little while now. But for me, it's just avoiding those, the dumb things, so that they can focus on what they need to focus on, which is figuring out what this user base, how many users there are. I feel like that's always a question that no one really has an answer to. But that's kind of how which is weird. It's weird to measure success by non-mistakes. Like that's what I look for. But that really is it. That's what it is for me. And then just seeing them like the way that they tie this to the NBA better. Like instead of just, like when All-Star weekend's happening, there should be cool shit going on. When summer league's happening, there should be cool shit going on. Like those should be tent poles for what's happening. So even though summer league didn't like blow me away this year with what they did, it was a lot of fun. And anybody that went out there would go again. I guarantee that. Like I think everybody who went out had a great time. And like I think that's how you start like to build momentum around those moments.
Do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, Ron? I think like so they've set the table quite a bit for some of the rewards that they're going to set up for these leaderboards. And I think that's majority of the reason why I think the market's starting to bounce a little bit. I mean, there's obviously the people that are churning through these locker room packs, these juiced up locker room packs, trying to land a holo with trade tickets. So that's kind of supporting the floor. And we've seen I mean, you could say that the $2 floor is going away, or it's getting to the point where it's mostly $3 moments and a handful of twos here and there. But the leaderboards is, something they teased a while ago when they announced the TSS stuff. And then now they really turned on the whole locking. And people are, the first prize is a cast in a wide net. They're going to get, 750, the top 750 people on every leaderboard. I guess you're going to get, I think it's like a moment melt kind of thing. So it'll be like the first team moment. It seems like for these on the platform. And so, but my thing is like, similar to like flash challenges, right? When flash challenges first started, everybody started spending money on flash challenges. And then because everybody had this idea of like, oh, my rewards and we're going to get free shit and all this stuff. And then I mean, there's not like that much cool shit you could sustain for a while, right? It's just going to either be packs or moments or I don't know, maybe Dapper Bounce or something. But I don't know. It's not like you're getting flown in a private jet to courtside seats, every week that just for holding the gift set or something. So, I mean, I think that's where it'll be interesting to see how, if the momentum kind of keeps going or not when the rewards start to happen. And then all of a sudden it's back into okay, what next? I got this cool shit, but when can I get some more shit? And it's well, that's not where their focus should be. Their focus shouldn't be turning the continual reward flywheel. It should be figure it out, getting more users on that are into the NBA, and then having all this product stuff that you can do with, but and then the economist should be the guy that's kind of balancing all. It shouldn't be such a reactionary okay, let's make up for this mistake by introducing this, and if we do this enough times, then we'll have this taken care of. So.
Pete, what about for you, as someone who's, besides skipping through the intro of my podcast, what is what would move the needle for you at this point? Or I'm not necessarily to buy stuff. I just mean move the needle in your excitement level.
Yeah, and it's funny you asked that, because I was just trying to think what pulls me back in. And I remember there was a moment in the spring with some of the team sets where I completed the Celtics and the Nuggets, because I was like, you know what? Playoffs are rolling around. Maybe they'll have some fun thing at the Garden. Maybe they'll have something for collectors. If you collect this set, they have a little happy hour, and then maybe they do a raffle and the winner gets to sit courtside at the Celtics. I was like, who knows? There's all these fun. And so that kind of pulled me in. I was like, I'm here close to the Celtics. They're looking good for the playoffs. some stuff like that tied into fandom. And yeah, it is hard. And I agree with you, because even other projects right now, yes, I'm famously a Moonbirds holder, people like the Kevin Rose team, but everyone's like, okay, what do they do for this nest? And then it's okay, then what? Then what? It is so much, what have you done for me lately? How do you satiate the market over and over? And it kind of goes back to, I think we were talking about this last week with Hertzik, where it's at some point, what you're providing has to transcend direct utility. And whether that's being people just genuinely enjoy collecting this. And you know what I come back to? I do really think content and I know this is an overplayed word in like NFT world right now, but like vibes, like just providing places people want to hang out and be a part of and just show that this is like fun to be a part of is really like almost the most key thing here. And I've talked about this with Mike too, and we feel strongly about it, but like Top Shot should really be leaning into content. Like they should be a content powerhouse, like churning out. Give me X's and O's basketball. Go try to fucking hire Zach Lowe. Like do anything to make Top Shot the place you want to hang out and make this stuff cool. Like I think that's the only thing that can get me like, you know, red pilled again to be like, oh God, I don't want to miss out on this.
Yeah, and I mean, again, and this is only patting ourselves on the back and pumping our bags, but that was like why the live show I thought had the potential of being dope, because it's like mixing those two things together of like, oh my God, we might get some like Top Shot alpha here, but it's the thing that like that happens every day anyways, but you're doing it in real life and everyone's coming in here in the same spot, experiencing the same thing at the same time. I agree with you, man. I think that could like really go a long way. And I will say, like, to some of the in real life utility thing you were talking about, how like the spring got you excited. It does seem like that, like these leaderboards really do seem like they're going in that direction. And they the Top Shot team seems super excited about it. It seems super excited about the direction that's going. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that's
well, and I think a lot of it will maybe, I mean, hopefully it'll lean into some of the teams too, because I know like sometimes they've targeted some of their bigger like raffle events for the 2 night stay wherever towards teams that kind of reach out to them and say, hey, we'll do this for game 4 of the playoffs or whatever, and so I would hope that like there's kind of those relationships building within the different teams too, to where it's not just like everybody hopping on Spaces and being like, yo, Jacob, what the fuck, why didn't whatever. And it's like, as you get more kind of partnerships involved and more of like the league that's involved that maybe sees it as a partnership in a way to reward some of their fans, because the team captain stuff kind of builds on that stuff too, right? I mean, like the more that you see a bunch of Kings fan hanging out near Golden One Center at all the Kings events, it's like, okay, well, the owner's like, all right, well, maybe we'll toss a couple tickets to the leaderboard and get some more people at the game or whatever. And it seems far fetched, but like that's the kind of natural partnership stuff I think that is going to happen or is going to kind of need to happen to keep it fresh and keep it as something that's like reward centric, if that's what a lot of this stuff is, because the more you just come out with moments and packs, the less valuable those are.
Right. And I meant to say this earlier too, because when you were talking, Pete, like, and I said this on the live show on Friday, I think like it was to your point, the more things that we get to do with it, whether it's team leaderboard, whether it's burning, whether it's challenges, these locker packs, whatever, like the more ways, and NBL has said this a bunch, the more ways you can interact with the platform, the less everyone's just like screaming about, is it going up or is it going down? But when you don't have a lot of stuff to do, that's the only thing you focus on, right? And because there's nothing else to focus on. But when you have all these other ways to interact with it, I mean, yes, of course, we're still going to worry about like whether it's up or it's down. But when you have other shit, that goes a long way. And that does seem like what they are building the other shit. So
yeah.
Well, and the tide, I feel like the tide turns so quickly, like within the Top Shot community, right? And it's like, I mean, I don't know. Now it's been 16 months or whatever since like the bubble popped in February, and people have ridden a lot of waves down and up and still, I mean, we're sitting in the casino. This is a good one, Pete, to loop Pete in on. DJ Local is at the machine craps table, the bubble craps. He's got his one phone ripping through locker room packs, like just open them up, reveal all, open them up, reveal all. And then his other phone, he's firing in trade tickets, like trading them in so he can go buy 10 more. And then he's like, playing the pass line too. It was like, dude, you are insane. And that's like, there's a lot of people that are like doing that, or they are like engaged regardless of like what's going on in the market. And so like the more that they could kind of just like lean into that. And like you're saying, Mike, and what NBL's talking about is like giving us all this stuff to do with like maybe the moments that aren't like, the biggest pieces of value or whatever, that are all in the like middle range, and people start getting excited about it and it starts building on it. Well, then now you're like TSDs, people start getting more confident in, or you start doing whatever, and it more store value.
I wanted to see if I could zoom in on this a little bit more,
I'll
but I
let
don't
you
know how to
zoom
do
in.
it in Dropbox. But this is a normal sized iPhone, and this is what the fuck DJ Local was carrying around. This is straight up
with
brick.
the battery.
Phone.
His battery lasts, I think, about a solid 3 or 4 days.
I think for me too, like as someone where it's like, you know, I'm vaguely plugged in. I follow all the people on Twitter. I hear it in Discord. I listen to Team Hold, and I still am like a little confused with everything that's going on Top Shot. And it's not even like I feel like I need to be interacting with the platform in every way, but it's like you do want to know, what is the site signaling to you that you should care about? Because like that's important. Like we've all felt that too, with like, oh, should I be completing sets? Should I be flipping stuff right now? Because this and it's like I do want to take those cues, but just even as someone that's like within this world but not necessarily obsessed with it right now, I'm like very confused. And so I just end up sitting on my hands. But I don't think that's optimal for them if someone like me is kind of relatively confused with what they're telling users.
Yeah, I do that. I still think that's something they need to get better at. I think they're slowly getting better at it, but I mean, it's like any Discord where you get a bunch of pings, right? You're like, okay, I'm just muting this and I'm never going to see anything again. And I do think they run into that, right? With all the challenges that are happening at once right now. And it's kind of hard to know it. And I know Packrip, he's doing the blog and that's like a little bit more concise. They're trying to get better with spaces. And now what they're doing with their spaces is they're uploading it to the podcast. I think that's like a good start, just so like that all the information can be in one spot. But I think, Pete, that's like that's like feedback for them. Like you're probably like the ideal person, right? Because if anyone else is more into it, they'd already be, I don't know, watching posts or whatever. But you are probably that person that they're trying to get to. And if that's the case, they need to learn how to reach you a little bit better.
Yeah, and real quick, not to derail us, Tommy says, anyone pull anything in the NFL celebration packs? You know what? We haven't ripped a pack on Club Top Shot in a while. I did just check. I do have a celebration pack. Tonight we can rip, celebrate good times. So we can get back to that. But so John, like you though, despite all this, like Mike grinding Top Shot streams on a near daily basis, you just launched a new site, Momentum Labs. Like you guys are both clearly still bullish on what this ecosystem can be, even if there have been road bumps along the way. Like what inspired you, John, to kind of dive into something like this, or at least gave you the confidence that this could have a payoff down the road for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like honestly, with the Discord that I started however many months ago, and I made it a paywall thing, a subscription based deal, and like the amount of people that are like stuck in there and are like, we got to the point where like people are grinding their own spreadsheets and like posting shit, and like I had to make a whole channel for like people to do their own posts in the Discord because there's like too much good content that was showing up. And like meanwhile, we're all like at the end of the day like, oh yeah, everything's going down, it doesn't even matter, 3 months from now it could all be zero. But like just the amount of like people that are still like so hardcore and are just like looking for anything to like turn it on, right, is what it is kind of why it's like, okay, there's still going to be like some need for the data there, right? And you'd like to think, and I think something maybe Mike would agree that this weekend kind of proved to us is that talking with some Dapper employees, I heard for the first time that they kind of realized there was some mistakes in Series 3, which I get so frustrated on that sometimes because I can't really tell if like they know that they're screwed up, right? And it's just like a printer, like, oh, we're doing this, or we're doing that. It's like, okay, and then you go by a month and it's like, okay, do you realize like what just happened? So that was really positive to hear. And I always had kind of that like hope and wish of like, okay, they all want the best for the platform. So they're probably going to figure out how to turn it around. And it might be a big boat that takes a while to turn around, but like there's not just going to be 100Ks in Series 4, right? They're going to realize that 60Ks was too much and they're going to scale that back. And maybe if they get more users, then that'll kind of right the ship. And I mean, the long-term play is still, I think, true of being a collectible, like a digital collectible is kind of going to be the future when you relate it to like physical trading cards, right? I mean, like just like it just seems hard that I don't really picture a world where like 20 years from now a Cade, like a Cade Cunning, like if Cade ends up, being a stud, like his Top Shot moment's going to be like worth nothing. And like, but his Panini Prism is like going to be worth a bunch. Like, it just seems like
Right.
that
Yeah.
there's always going to be value in the digital collectible, because that's like the world that we're kind of moving to. And the way that the process is just been so streamlined. So that and again, is like something that I always kind of just lean back on, what it seems like, hey, there's only red in sight. It's like, there's crazy ass fans. I think the team like cares and is going to try to figure this out, even if it's going to right the boat. And the technology seems like it's just not going to go away.
I'm glad you answered that honestly, because Pete, the wait, that was loaded. Pete was like, "Are you sure you guys aren't wasting your time?" Like, that is how I heard.
No, it wasn't.
No, yeah. I mean,
like,
it's honestly
good.
Well, it's an interesting question, because like when Moment Nerd and I were building it, I mean, he talked to me. We've been doing it since December, right? And so like that's when we first started talking about like, hey, should we team up and do something? Because he whips together these tools all the time. Meanwhile, I'm like plugging away on this spreadsheet, and like this very like I would say the barrier of entry into like figuring out all the shit I make is like relatively high, just because it's a complicated ass spreadsheet and there's like a million tabs and it's out of control. And so it's like, yeah, we should link up. Like we should do this together. You've got the skills. I've got some of the more tools to add to it, and we can make this a cool thing. But then like, as we're going, then it's like, okay, well, now the market's really in the shit for the last 2 months. Like, is this going to be a great time to launch? Like, are we just going to get like 3 people and it's going to be like, all right, here we go. And so it's nerve wracking for sure. And I mean, I think like our like, core user that we're looking for is the people that are still here grinding every day and are looking for the EV on the crafting challenge, and are looking for like, should I spend my 60 trade tickets on this or that, versus the new guy that's showing up and being like, hey, what do I buy?
And I don't know, Pete, if you'd agree with this, right? But I feel like you made a similar bet like a year or two ago, where I feel like you were one of the first people I know that were like focusing heavily on best ball. And now I feel like the only fantasy football content I see is best ball for YouTube streams. And I mean, I know it's the off season, so that's what people are doing right now. But I feel, and maybe you would disagree with that, but I feel like that's kind of like, you saw where this seemed to be trending and it seemed to be like good for content. So you're like, I'm going to lean heavy into that. And now I think when people look up best ball stuff, you're probably one of the first people are seeing,
Yeah, you're probably giving me too much credit for like skating where
it.
I thought the puck was going to be. Although it is funny you mentioned the best ball, because I was going to tie that back to John with, data analysis and the type of content you're providing people, where it's like, with Underdog, we have these really set defined rules. Like, we know what the settings are. We know what the structure is. We're going to do it over and over. Granted, we only have a couple years of data on this type of tournament, but we have data. And it's like, for a data scientist or somebody, like, you have a lot to work with. There's a lot there. We have ADP movements. You know the rules of the game. I think that what makes it hard about Top Shot is like, the rules keep changing. And I assume for you, John, too, it's like you're running EV calcs. And that's like, well, throw that one out the window. Now I need to do another one. Oh no, now this is optimal. And it's like, I get a panic attack just thinking about trying, from your perspective, of like how to provide valuable, actionable content for people on a game that's constantly changing and evolving.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a challenge too, but it's like something that I've actually, I feel like I've done decent at, because with the spreadsheets, like just being this mega spreadsheet that I run, it's like, it's so easy to like pop up a new tool and like create a little thing on the side, and then like announce in Discord, like, hey, now I'm tracking this because of an announcement 3 days ago. And that like kind of keeps the people going. And so one of the biggest challenges, because I don't know anything about how to code anything, it's like, so we need to learn with Moment Nerd about how I could like get stuff quickly thrown up. And I mean, I'm gonna have to take some classes here and figure it out. But like, I feel like if there's some flexibility there, even if it's just like pretty dumb little spreadsheets on a web page for a while until we build out a better tool, being kind of flexible. And like now all the rage is about team leaderboards, right? And like 2 weeks ago, that wasn't anywhere. Like, we're getting ready to launch the website, then we're gonna like go into NFL all day next, and like we might do a full pivot here and like build some tools for team leaders first, and just kind of like staying flexible there a little bit. But the other thing too is like, I'm one of our main goals is just like to provide data that people can then like use, right? And so like there's all these like rumbles coming out with OTM, right? And like TOC is going to come around again, and like Momorank's playing. So all these like NFT fantasy kind of games, we're not really in the business of like creating the games, but I can easily throw together some projections for that. I can easily throw together a little bit of some strategy articles or whatever to help people figure out how to kind of try to, you know, gain a little bit of an edge, and then just providing, you know, those projections every week, and having it be something that people are able to kind of go to for a resource to chase the newest shiny object that's popped up. I think is something that's going to be valuable, because there's always, people are going to keep innovating. I mean, Dapper's throwing a lot of money at people to try to build stuff in the ecosystem, and so that stuff's going to keep popping up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think, and it's also tough because, like, on the other hand, you know, we ran into this early on with CTS. It's like we have Andy and NBL and Jennings, who were these big early whales, and they're like, we've made our bet. We think the Series 1 stuff and these certain sets are what are going to be valuable, these players. And now, like, yeah, we're going to, you know, NBL does an awesome job of continuing to interact with the site. But, like, on the other hand, like, yeah, like the early stuff is the best investment. Like, that upper tier stuff is going to withstand the test of time. And then it's like, is it bad that it's just a collectible that you're going to sit on and make a long-term bet on? Or do we demand too much of being constantly entertained and stimulated by whatever challenges or other utility they're dangling in front of us?
I think both are probably true, right? Like, I feel we definitely demand too much. I think we definitely demand too much, and we like create these expectations that it's not like it's not expectations they've laid out. Like, we've created them, and then we're pissed when they don't meet them. And it's like, well, it was never their expectations to begin with. But I do think there's like a medium, right? I think there's a happy medium, and I know there's a lot of people in the Top Shot community that are like, dude, Andy's a fucking sellout, bro. And it's like, no, man, like, it's fine. Let him get his money. He should. And same thing with NBL. Like, I know, although NBL bought some stuff today because I think he got nervous that Osimo was out there buying some stuff. But I think there's a happy medium there where, like, they're, you know, they can just be collectibles that we're buying for like long-term holds while also having like a day-to-day trading type situation, whether it's challenges, whether it's just because, like, John and I were having a conversation during Summer League, which this is like, I think this to me is what the success of the platform is. John was like, all right, man, so like, what 4K rookies are we looking at for this season? And like, that's what's fun. You're making gambles and bets based on who you think is good at basketball.
Yeah.
And like, that's how it works. You know, I think that's how it like works long term. That's how it works for people that aren't already into Web3. It's like, oh yeah, dude, Kamiga's going to have a big year right now. Bang. You buy a Kamiga moment.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a fun sweat, right? It's like making a futures bet.
Right.
Where you scoop the guy and then you get all this sweat equity. You're watching this guy night in and night out. Oh, this guy could be rookie of the year. I bought this moment early. Like, that's what we're doing. It's like, you enjoy the game of basketball, you enjoy collecting, and it's just this added thing. In the same way you place a bet on a game, it just like adds and enhances the experience. That's all we're asking for. Although sometimes, like Mike said, we do ask for two more, because that'd be like now going to the sports book and being like, oh, by the way, can you do all these other things for me? Why I sweat my bet?
Hey, my bet won. Why am I do I get a hoodie with the bet?
Yeah, I think it's I think what I hope is going to happen, and this is what I've kind of been banging on the drum for this for a little bit, is like, there needs to be kind of like a delineation of like, okay, there's some moments that are just like valuable, right? Like, we bring it back to like the Cade or the LeBron TSD or something. Like, it's just a rookie moment of a player that you cross over to cardboard that has value. You see why there's value there. It's the first moment, whatever, and that stuff is like probably going to trend in a separate direction than like the extra spice set or whatever, you know, like the random Cobb and Bobit set that they like come out with, that's going to follow of whatever Top Shot says, versus some of the moments that are going to follow whatever the market says. And so I feel like the more that Top Shot can like get expectations wrangled up a little bit, and like not have these huge swings of people pissed, people stoked, and then 2 months later people pissed, and like kind of get it to a more like manageable like way of like economy, and like it's just like expectations are set and people are kind of figuring it out, then that's when the hype around the Twitter, or like the positive sentiment, or like people not just flooding it everywhere, starts to roll into people now viewing that other set of moments as a better store of value and something to invest in along the way. Not saying, hey, I'm going to go buy 5 Cade TSDs because I'm going to get a Cade hoodie or something, but being like, hey, this is a healthy platform. I'm going to go buy some of the premier stuff because people are viewing that as a good thing to invest in and hold. So that's I'll end my rant there, but that's my vision.
Pete, don't you think, I agree with that, but don't you think, like, because I know you guys talked about NFL all day. I don't know, was it last week or 2 weeks ago briefly? But don't you think the same, like, it would pique your interest the same way? And I know right now you're not like super into it, but like are still paying attention. But if that's where it goes, right, where you're like, oh, I have an edge just based on like my football knowledge, or like who I think is going to pop this year, or who has more longevity in their career, whatever. I mean, that's how the needle moves, I think, long term, for outside of just like it being an NFT thing,
Yeah, and it's tough too because I'm thinking I don't know how they would do it and with the NFL licensing and how they need footage for these plays. But I'm thinking, like, if there was a rookie drop for NFL right now, like, and I get to try to rip a Drake London or a Garrett Wilson, or I get to go in the marketplace and like I have such strong feelings on these guys as prospects just from playing a shit ton of fantasy. Like, I would love to compound some of my bets via these moments early on. And again, like, I can't do that right now. And even if I did do it, I don't know if there would ever be a payoff. But like, I did, one of my only big purchases I made on NFL all day was a Jamar Chase rare, because I was like, I think the wide receivers are slightly undervalued relative to the quarterbacks. And I do think Jamar Chase has a chance to just be like a transcendent Hall of Fame player. And so I like want to make that bet, and I'm happy to sit on it. I don't need a Jamar Chase jersey in the mail to make me feel good about that purchase. But yes, I am ready to be engaged. Like, my brain works on this wavelength, and yet the platform isn't tapping into that as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's telling, right? So if it's not, that's where it needs to move before it like really connects with a larger audience. It's not having a fantasy game.
Yeah. But that's where it gets into like NFL all day as a chance here to maybe like learn a little bit from what Top Shot did. Because, like, I mean, you talk about with Brian, Pete, like with the Jokic hollow bet or the cosmic bet, right? And he, like, you guys talk about how everything went right. He won MVP and like all that stuff. And then the moment just like did it retain value because like there was just so much other shit going on, so many other Jokic things you could buy and whatever. And so like the same thing with the Chase, right? The Jamar Chase is like only so good as like if they land 5 rares in Series 2 and all of a sudden Jamar Chase is everywhere. And it's like, okay, well, that just like takes away from it. And like it just gets back to like the starting point of not being able to bet on these guys, and then we're just asking for win utility, right? But if they could kind of lean into that like speculative side of like not just speculative for like what is Dapper Labs going to introduce next week, but like speculative of like what is a player's career going to be, or is he going to be good this year and pop on TV on Monday Night Football or whatever. I think that'd be pretty awesome, and I think they have a chance to not screw that up like Top Shot kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I listened to you talk to Feldman on your podcast, and obviously you had to be a little kind of coy with just, what's coming and stuff. But it did make me hopeful that they're ready to kind of knock this NFL season out of the park, because and he mentioned it, like they've had the benefit of observing like what worked and what didn't work for Top Shot. And I do think they could have a massive season just from an execution standpoint, if they've really internalized all these lessons.
Well, and you're seeing it happen too, like even to I feel like they have a smaller pool to work with Malik over at UFC Strike. And they are really pulling some levers right now to see like what works and what doesn't. And that gives me hope like for NFL all day as well, because they're in a similar situation where they, like you said, Pete, they saw Top Shot do their thing and they're like, okay, like what we can learn from those mistakes and we can try this. And that's the thing that John said, and to give him credit from like the very beginning, it's like, if we are in beta and we're like messing around with supply, we're messing around with these trade tickets, like let's pull some fucking levers. Like let's see what works and what doesn't work. And that is what you're seeing like UFC Strike and both NFL all day do. And I think that is, I mean, maybe the, I don't know, the I don't want to use a boat analogy, but like the idea that like maybe the NBA Top Shot ship has to turn a little bit more slowly than the other ones do because there's more users, they're further along, but maybe, you know, they're seeing what everyone else is doing and can make adjustments. But you're right. Like I think we're hearing from Feldman, hearing from Malik, and really hearing from Janie too, as much as we've traded barbs back and forth about if NFL All Day counts as NBA Top Shot having presence at NFT NYC. Like they do seem they get it right now, and it seems like they're moving around. So I don't know. I'm knock on wood. I'm feeling good right now, but maybe I'm just hungover from Vegas.
What's your guys' take on I feel like this could be a good one to talk about, just locking in general. Locking, right? We're talking about saving or locking up in a moment for a year, right? And obviously you get some rewards or whatever, but I just kind of am interested to hear your initial reaction on what you're thinking about for locking, or what you're thinking.
Yeah, from mine, and I was reading up on it, and like I'm gonna have no problem locking my team sets because I haven't really been touching those anyways. And frankly, I probably have no problem locking just about everything because I just haven't been selling. I sit on my hands for better or worse. Sometimes that's worked out, sometimes it hasn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind the concept in general to kind of like reward people who just wanted to sit on it no matter what. That said, I think the expectations for what like locking, which is their kind of PR term for staking, like what that means. And I've observed it with even like Moonbirds right now, which has like an absurd amount of the supply nested, and yet like the liquidity can still be really low, right? Like we could lock up so much of this, and that doesn't mean like, oh, this supply shock means like, oh, this demand and the floor goes up. It's like, well, no, it just means that the diehards have locked it up and there's not a bunch of new people willing to buy up the supply. So my thing is like, I think it's a cool thing to introduce, but I would be very careful about assuming that it's going to rise or result in the supply shock.
I just like, that's always my thing with all of this. I wish they just said or like gave examples. Maybe they don't know exactly what the reward is going to be, but gave examples of what the reward would look like. That way you just avoid the situation where everyone's like, are you kidding me, dude? It's only like $8 Dapper dollars or whatever it is, right? Like at least that information is out there right away. But I mean, I think it's ultimately good. Like I think the leaderboard thing is exciting. I like that you need to lock it in order to be considered for the leaderboard. It seems like they have the wherewithal to be like, okay, we know that there's like 5 collectors that would be number top through 1 through 7, right? In all of the leaderboards, if they locked them right now. So they're like, okay, we need to figure out a different way to reward everyone so that it's not just the same 5 people getting rewarded every time. I thought that was really smart. I don't know. I'm into it. I like the idea.
Do you think people are locking? So because Pete brought up like the supply shock thing, do you think people are thinking about that when it comes to locking, or do you think people are mostly eyes on the prize of leaderboards and what can I get from being top 750 right now?
So I didn't do any reading. Before I locked anything. I didn't pay attention.
I can actually kind of tell.
Yeah, I know. I did too. I didn't look at anything. I locked all of my.
Mike just ran to his computer.
Yeah, I was like, dude, if I don't lock something in the first 48 hours, someone's gonna DM or someone's gonna tweet something out. All of a sudden, I'm in a controversy. No, I locked all of my Celtics moments. I locked all of my Nuggets moments. I locked my WNBA set because that immediately put me in the top leaderboard of everyone else. And then I locked just like stuff I'm like the LeBron Top Shot debut. I'm not selling that. So like we locked it up. Like, and maybe that comes with no rewards. Maybe that was a mistake. But I was like, I don't know if I'm not locking that moment, should I be locking any moments? Like that's the moment that I have the biggest bet on, right? That I'm like not selling. So it feels like that should be a locked moment. I don't know.
How are you playing it?
I think people are. I don't know. It seems to me that people are mostly talking about, okay, what happens when I get to top 750 or top 200 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like the supply shock that Pete's talking about is going to be like a secondary effect that in like the NFT world, when like there's these, for lack of a better term, these staking little Ponzi, wheel things where it's like all of a sudden there's you can't sell anything because you got to freaking like, pluck your feathers for 30 days or whatever the hell it is. And that supply shock happens. People are kind of getting used to that. But I feel like it's in the Top Shot stuff, that might be something that is like a secondary effect a little bit. And like, I just start to think about like the fact that certain moments aren't going to be able to move for a year, and then they're starting to do all these crafting things, and then they are saying they're committing to net neutral supply in Series 4. Like that's a lot of like kind of mechanics in the ecosystem that we just have like no idea how it's going to happen, and like it's like almost the exact opposite from what we saw in like Series 3, where they almost like doubled the ecosystem with moments. And so that's where so I'm personally, I haven't locked anything yet, and I don't know really if I will. But also, Mike, like I don't really have I don't have any team sets anymore. I broke the Kings a while ago. I don't collect any normal sets either. Like I basically just have like rookies and like 60Ks. Like I've tried to like pretty much only go like the TSD route, and so like I have stacks of like Scotty Barnes or stacks of like Cade, and like I don't think it would be smart to lock up like 5 Scotty Barneses, right? Because if he doubles in price for whatever reason for all these mechanics that happen, and I'm like sitting on the sidelines, with 5 of them locked up for another year, I'm going to be kind of bummed because the year is just so damn long, right? It's like you got to kind of ride the wave a little bit, and I also try to like kind of dollar cost average into stuff, and so as I'm buying these rookies, right, I'm going to want to like sell them on the way up too, and then probably buy them back later, whatever. And so that's why it doesn't appeal to me that much. And the other thing that I just can't, like you said, we need to like hear stuff about what they're going to do, because I just am not super confident that these rewards are going to be like worth what people think they're going to
be.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this question? Because I think this is a fair question. Colin says, as someone who has absolutely no shot at reaching the top of the leaderboards for locking, why should I lock?
Well, first of all, Colin, love this avatar right here. It's a great avatar by Colin. I think so. I mean, they said the leaderboards, right, to qualify for the rewards they're going to be doing, at least for this first time around, it's out of 750. It's the top 750. And that goes to what I was saying about how Janie was like, we know Alexo, we know Greek Freak, we know MBL are going to be like the top in every single category, right? So they're finding other ways to reward people. So I think there's a reason to do it that. I mean, this goes against what I said earlier about creating expectations that they haven't created. But I really do think, I mean, Jacob mentioned this pack rip before he got a new microphone and he was like swallowing mics in the spaces. He was saying something similar to, I do think they're going to do something for individual players too. Like if you own, like John, you were saying, if you lock up like 10 Scotty Barnes and you're like the top Scotty Barnes holder, you're going to be able to hold Scotty Barnes or something like that. And I do think, I think too, like, even if you just like lock a moment, I don't know, maybe they're like, hey, you held this LeBron moment in lock for 5 years. Over the course of that 5 years, it grew $1,000. Here's 10% of that in Dapper. I'm just fucking throwing stuff out there. None of this is true. I don't think it's just going to be team leaderboards. That seems like a very basic way to roll out locking. It's an easy way to understand. It's an easy way to introduce it to us. But I feel like we're going to see way more mechanics used with this. Again, none of that. Don't do that just based on what I said. But that's kind of the bet that I'm making.
But I would say if like, so yeah, you're probably not gonna, I mean, Dingley tweeted that he locked his whole account, so I mean he's obviously going to be up near the top. You're not going to pass him, but if I also don't think they're just going to do like, hey, here's a whole week or here's a whole month where we're rewarding the top 5 people in all these random leaderboards, right? That's just like that doesn't buy them any goodwill, right? That's just going to piss people off. And so I think if it's a really like high level reward where maybe they only want to give away 10 of them, maybe they do like a raffle within the top 100 or something like that, to where it doesn't just take like the top people that have bought a bunch, and maybe those guys just always have a chance in the raffle, but it's just always not that way. So I think so I wouldn't get like too down on that, being like, hey, I'm never going to be number 1 for the Lakers because all these people with LeBron's, like, I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal. But being able to kind of be in that range to where you can decide like, okay, maybe I want to bump up to 200, or maybe I want to drop down to 500 or whatever, I think is meaningful. And then Fred VanVleet, baby, lock it up.
I realize forever I told people if they send me Fred VanVleet's, it goes into the Overzet vault. And that was just kind of a promise that people had to take my word on. And now I realize I can finally put my money where my mouth is and lock these up, baby. So keep talking. I have a ways to go.
But I also I'm so guilty too, which is ironic because we come from Team Hold, and I said this to John earlier, but I'm so guilty of just like getting caught up in the moment and like flipping stuff too to try to get into some other stuff. And I like the idea that I can take that out. Like I did this today. I locked up the entire WNBA set because I want to hold on to it. I want to have it, and I don't want to be caught up in like a pump to maybe make $8. And I know some people do, and I'm like, I can't. I just need to lock it up so I don't see it. So I kind of like. So
you like it as an actual prevention from you making like an impulse decision you might regret later.
And Pete, everything you know about me, does that ring true? That's something that I need.
It does.
Yeah.
It does ring true. Just like you needed to lock up your DraftKings balance once you bank a tournament.
I know that is also true. People will always make fun of me. They're like, "Oh wow, dude, down to $80." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I took $5K off, so I didn't enter a $5K head to head with McLovin or whatever. Like, I just get that money off."
Yeah. Consigliere is saying pay Clay to lock for you. I do need a FVV locking stable boy. My fingers are already getting tired. Yeah.
Wait, John, do you agree with what I was saying? Sorry, Pete, I took over the question.
No, go ahead.
Do you agree with what I'm saying though about do you think this really is just going to be team leaderboards, or do you think this gets like locking, finds, other ways, like there's other methods of using it?
Yeah, I think there's for sure other methods. I mean, they talked about player ones loosely in the TSS announcement back a while ago. I'd have to reread the recent blog to see if they touched on player ones as well. But like, I mean, I could see that there's a world where they're not going to be able to airdrop forever, right? So I could see a world where only hustle and show sets that are locked get an airdrop, or
allow list,
maybe on show allow list, or like there's just like a million different things you can like do with it that way, or whether it be like hero ball for a challenge, or like you can really figure out ways to lock in like reward really most of the mechanics that they do on the site. And so I think like my advice for people is like, if you're a huge Fred VanVleet fan, like obviously spend 10 minutes locking all his moments, but like lean into like what you like care about the most or whatever, right? And like if you're like right down the street from the Bucks, right? Like that probably makes sense to like try to lock some Bucks, or like try to lock some Bucks players that you like or whatever, because like that's probably the closest to like where you'll be able to get rewards from. Right. And then my like economic advice, this maybe could be considered financial advice, is if you have stacks, like if you have a bunch of like stacks of, somewhat valuable things, right? Like not like, a bunch of 60Ks or whatever, but like if you've got a bunch of TSDs, or if you've got a bunch of rares of some player or whatever, like maybe lock a couple, but don't lock them all, just in case all of a sudden, like with all these different mechanics they're adding, and we get 30,000 new people signed up on opening night this year, and the market's popping, that you're not like, shit, I wish I didn't lock that for a year and get a pack. I wish I could have sold it for $100 more or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that is a good piece of advice for locking, right? Like free roll your locking, like things that you would just lock and wouldn't touch anyways, that you're in for the long haul. If you're going to have the single bit of FOMO of like, well, I locked this and then it 2x and then don't fucking lock it in the first place. Like just don't anything you're going to have regret on. I mean, I'm trying to think through this right now. Fred VanVleet runs for Prime Minister of Canada, ends up coming with a vaccine for cancer. Like, I mean, maybe then I regret it. But other than that, like, I feel pretty good about this decision.
But see, this, like, I really do. And again, I apologize for setting expectations. I do feel like there's a world in which they do like a random snapshot of like the top 50 Fred VanVleet holders who get even if it's just like a fucking jersey. Like, I feel like you're going to see random stuff like this moving forward. That's unannounced. It's just like snapshots after the fact. And I think that, to me, that's like the more of that kind of crap they can do, the better. Like you get dual citizenship, you get Canadian citizenship because of all the Fred VanVleets you own.
Lock it up.
Well, folks. And they're definitely, let's go.
Was that 155?
165.
That's nuts.
It might take a minute. That's
Into
actually
the
cool. I
vault.
haven't been to the locking page. It projected where you're gonna land on the Raptors leaderboard. That's kind of cool.
Where did it say? I didn't even look.
For Raptors, it said 140th, but that's because there's just crazy Raptors fans.
It's because of fucking Veerman, dude.
But I would
is he
be
dominating
willing
the
to
leaderboard?
bet you're pretty high up there on Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, it's got Oh no, error. Too many friends.
What?
Too many
Are
friends.
you kidding? I was like, what a perfect way to kill two birds with one stone than to do this on the show. An error occurred with your transaction. I do need a stable boy for this. I'm done. I'm done. God.
There goes Pete's chance at top of the leaderboard with Fred VanVleet.
The Fred VanVleet BJ's out the window now.
Oh my goodness.
But they did mention in the blog, I was looking through it, that that the player rewards are going to be more closely tied to like not the caliber, but like some of their in-season accomplishments type of deal. So I think like if you're sitting on, a stack of Isaiah Hartensteins and you're like, oh yes, let's go, I'm gonna meet him. Maybe that's not the greatest play. But if it's like, if you've got moments of like, the top fit 25 players in the league or whatever, and maybe those guys are gonna get some they're gonna give stuff out to the all-star guys, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think the locking's interesting and it's gonna have an economic impact for sure. But I do think the year is what is pretty wild.
I clicked it again, guys. I
go.
clicked submit again, and we did it. We did it.
Can we talk about one more thing too before we? So one other thing about Vegas that we didn't talk about, that I don't think we talked about, is that they came up with this new thing. So they didn't do the kiosk, but they did tour packs, right? So it was $99. You got 3 moments. You got the 3 guys who were going to be there: J.R. Smith, Richard Jefferson, and Channing Frye. Which I'm big. I love this. I think anytime you can do like an in real life thing, I love that. And they've all been pretty lucrative so far, which has been nice. But I guess I saw Mike Weisberg in the chat. He had a stream earlier where Jacob was on. It sounds like they're going to go to 5 or 6 different cities this year with the tour, which to me, I think that's, I don't want to be like it's a bull signal. I just think that's dope. Like if you're going to do like a big event, like we were saying earlier, right? Like it's opening night, all-star weekend, whatever, like being able to get moments from whatever's happening at like, because you're there, you have a shot at that. I think that's pretty exciting. I like that. That moves the needle for me a little bit. Yeah.
What did they end up doing anything for in Summer League? Did you guys get any special?
Not for being
in there.
So not for being in Summer League, but they did this thing called the tour pack. So we got a J.R. Smith, a Richard Jefferson, and Channing Frye, because those are the 3 guys that were involved. So we did get that, but it was $99, which there was like a 3-day window where I was like, I think I'm about to take a huge bath on these.
They're all over.
John, I thought you left. But you changing right now, John? What are you doing? You taking your shirt off? What's going on?
If you come back on camera and I just see your hairy chest, John boy, this isn't that kind of stream.
There we go. I don't know what happened. I didn't even notice it was off.
No, you're good. You're good. So what is that? So you're saying you were worried that you were do you think like $100 for that? Did you feel like, oh wow, I'm getting in on something exclusive, or did you feel like I might get burned?
No. So
no.
Ready? This 2 things. I thought, one, I was like, people learn their lesson. There's no way we make money off of this. The second thing, this is true. Shout out Cedric from Dapper, SF Cedric. As we're getting checked in, I thought he was doing a bit, because we've been doing this bit for a long time. We say hashtag max packs, every time packs come available. So as I'm checking in, he goes, max packs. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, man. And then all of a sudden I'm spending $200 on packs. I was like, I didn't know this was happening.
He meant it in the literal sense that you were,
And I thought we were doing bits. I thought we were having a good time, and all of a sudden I was spending $200. So I was really nervous that I was like, who wants a J.R. Smith? But people did. I ended up flipping.
The whole reason you went to take a photo with him was just to pump your own bag.
Oh yeah, dude. I didn't even know who he was, man. I was like, I love what you did for Team Canada.
The same thing happened to me, and I walked in and because it was a little bit confusing. You had to like fill out like a little iPad waiver and like into your email, and you had to like accept it or whatever. And he's like doing the same thing. He's like, and I love Cedric. I met him this weekend. He's the man. And he's like, all right, you doing max packs? You gonna buy 2 of them? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like thinking it was like the packs last year that are worth like $19 or whatever. And he didn't really disclose like exactly what we were getting. And I'm like, we're playing basketball later, and somebody's like, wow, what do you guys think of the $99 price? But I was like, oh, it's $99. Wow, that's quite a bit. But then seeing that they were basically like minted to demand, and they were like 360 mint count or whatever it was, 330. I was like, that's probably got a decent shot of being, we're gonna at least break even. So I think and I thought it was cool that they gave it to the Cavs. So there was like 20 packs that were unsold, and so they gave it to like the Cavs team.
I
team
love
captain,
that.
So that way they could do a giveaway to all the Cavs holders that now don't have a JR or a Richard Jefferson or whatever, just to like help those guys out. I thought that was cool.
I do think there's some fun stuff they could do with that, as far as like events where it's like you make a pack available to everyone for like 99, but then like maybe you guys IRL get this voucher that gets you 75% off of it or something, like some kind of where I feel like that could thread the needle of anyone can get it, but you guys kind of earned a free pack or a cheap pack or something like that.
Yeah, I love that. I think anything that's just like encouraging the in real life stuff, not to the point where you should fly across country. I don't think it should be so plus EV that you should fly across country to go do it. But like, what a cool thing if you're, in Milwaukee, even if you're in Chicago, there's stuff happening in Milwaukee. You're like, yeah, let's go for the trip for this.
Are we at the point of the show where we can dunk on Poker Pro Eric? Please, like, I've let you say some dumb shit in the chat. This is like talking about one of my random co-hosts. This isn't even factually accurate. Poker Pro, you're lucky that you've become like the dumb cult hero of Top Shot, or I would block you right now.
No, so Cold Zero. He's a Cold Zero. My favorite thing about Poker Pro Eric is that he is the only person I've ever met that not only brought his own driver to Top Golf, but also brought like a tee, I think. And that's why he got kicked out. Because apparently one thing we learned about Poker Pro Eric is that he's like truly, what do they call those? Like short dick, long driver guys? A scratch golfer. So his whole thing was he should try to hit the ball over the net. Which he did, which was honestly very impressive that he cleared the net at Top.
Every community needs a resident idiot, and we're happy that Poker Pro Eric fills that void for us. But we're going to end this show in old school Club Top Shot fashion by ripping some packs. We're going to bring on Bethany and Greg, and what we're going to do first, we're going to play this. I'm going to dust off this clip here. Wow. Has a little. It just hasn't been used a lot. Let me see if it still works here. Yo, what up? It's DJ Pete Overzet. Welcome to the club. We didn't think things were gonna get popping tonight, but it's about to get lit. Behind door number 2, it's a 3-pointer. 13-25, Kevin Durant. We're gonna get a LaMelo. We're gonna get a Luka. We're gonna get a LeBron. Victory reveal. Let's go. God damn it! I don't need another layup. To the window. To the wall. The De'Aaron Fox stripped down my ball. 293 assists. Let's go. 293. Everybody get their drinks. Let's get a cheers tonight before we open up these nice packs. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying my biggest takeaway is those are a lot of shirts you used to wear before you started showing nipple. Like that was like everything but, and now
no. Here's the thing, Mike. Those clips, people remember the Top Shot Bull Run. That was in the dead of winter. We're wearing hoodies out here. We're in summer basketball season.
A lot of buttons were undone in some of those.
Okay. See, this is what a good roasting comment looks like. This episode of CTS has had more Top Shot content the rest of the year combined, which is pretty factually correct. Greg and Bethany, welcome to the show. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing great.
Doing good. Greg, this is how we know you're a true fan. You have your Cool Cats hoodie on. I was just talking about it's too hot to wear hoodies. How are you pulling this off right now?
I've had it on all day. I definitely didn't just put it on when I found out you were going to have us come rip packs. You can't see it. I'm also rocking the club fanny pack here we got. I'm wearing it like jacked over my arm. I got to have been really describe how the kids do it these days. But
a lot of people in
should've
Vegas
charged
rocking
you-
those, yeah.
The fannies. I was just thinking though, hearing that Top Shot charged $99 for their packs at some, I should have charged you $99 for the Club Top Shot fanny pack, Greg.
oh, at least $99.
And Bethany, how you doing? We got Kels here with us.
Yeah, Kelsey's here rocking his underdog snapback hat.
Look at that.
Look at this guy. You guys coming in just well equipped here tonight.
Yeah, we've got a hoodie in the closet, but it's hot here.
No. We can't. Only Greg can pull off the hoodie in the middle of July here.
Yeah, I've had it on for 10 minutes and it's already hot. So,
Greg, if you want to pull a John Boy and have your camera flicker out and take off the hoodie, like no one's gonna judge you here. So let's go around the horn here. Like who? So I have my celebration pack, and then we can figure out how to order these. Greg, I saw you say in the chat you have a Cool Cats pack, the most banger track of all Top Shot packs.
I have the music pack of Top Shot that we can rip.
That might have to be the walk-off, the Cool Cats music. Haven't heard that
good.
in ages. John Boy, you said you had an NFL all day?
I got a couple. I landed 2 of them.
What?
Wow. Mike, Mike, you save all you're probably burned through everything.
Trade in. I'm gonna trade in a locker room pack right now, so I have some no.
There you go. Mike doesn't want to feel left out. And Bethany, what do you have?
I just have like maybe the last one you could get, the Elite Pack, Hollow, whatever, with the by trading in 60 tickets.
Very
because
nice.
That's all I have now is tickets, no money.
John, you order these for us. I do think the Cool Cats, just because of the music, should be last, but order them in kind of heightening us here.
Yeah, so if Mike can get his tickets, he's probably gonna go first, definitely. and then we'll go to the we'll go to the NFL, and then honestly the trade ticket ones Bethany has are a pretty good deal. I think they're like expected value of like 120 when you take into account the legendaries, so could be some legendary action. And then honestly, Cool Cats, if that's like the OG Cool Cats, I think still like there's like a bunch of LaMelos in there, a bunch of Anthony Edwards. Like that's the best pack, regardless of if you like the music or not.
I love it.
Yeah, it's drop 2.
You mentioned this. I was so entranced watching the intro video for the pack opening because I hadn't seen it in ages that I forgot to go grab a drink during it. But I am going to go drag a drink here while Mike gets us set up here. So Mike, tell the people what you just turned in to get this.
We just turned in a couple of 60Ks. I'll say this might be my 100th pack rip so far for the locker room. I've fired off quite a bit of locker room packs. And John, I don't know if you can do the math for me, but so far I've only hit 60K. So I have to be due, right?
Yeah, you're up. You are due for that.
That's exactly how probabilities work. You have to be due.
You're either due for that or a NBA 2021 playoff moment worth $3.
No, come on. I feel like I'm due for an MGLE here. We're just gonna go left to right. It's not gonna be this one. Jerry Scarlett.
Somebody ripped a number 1 hollow in one of these trade ticket packs.
I think it was
number
Kyle's
1 hollow for Fox.
Kyle
Yeah,
Smith,
Kyle
I
Smith.
think.
Is he in here?
Greg is changing out of his hoodie, I can tell.
I like that he's changing, but he left the audio on. He's like, you can hear it. Though, baby.
No, let's go grab a drink.
Mike, on this show, we only reveal all. So.
Oh, is that true?
No.
Oh.
Where's the music, Mike?
I thought it was. Oh no, sorry. Can you hear it?
Yeah. By the way, I decided to throw some cheese and crackers with my drink. I'm just
there you go.
really settling in.
Yo,
Wow.
Kyle Smith's also in the chat. Let's go.
Yes.
23,000. That's a pretty good cereal, though, right? It's clean.
Yeah,
It's clean.
That'll go for more.
All right, guys. There you go. There you have it. That's the way we.
Bye. I'm so glad you didn't feel left
You
out.
have 3 of them, dude. You have 3 of them.
I know. I wasn't gonna make us riff 3.
Do one more, Mike.
You know, listen. Well, I'll reveal all the last 2. How does that sound?
There you go.
Reveal all the last 2. We're just gonna let's get something cool. Let's just do this.
Just for Mike. This guy can't get a break.
Oh, come on. We're at 102 of these now. Come on, let's do it. Here we go. We're due. 60Ks. The locker room is undefeated. The
Wow.
locker room is undefeated. Is
Stay
an honor.
broke, Mike.
An
Stay
honor
broke.
to rip packs here.
I'll go next. I'll go next here with my my celebration series. Someone in the chat did not like me singing Celebration earlier, so I'll try to spare you on that
I
one.
saw that and I almost responded to them to tell them that they sucked.
Oh, you were going to defend me in my singing?
Yes.
Wow, I appreciate that. My wife throws me under the bus all the time for my singing, so the fact that someone will stand for me, I appreciate that, Bethany.
Yeah, and I think you started typing to me somewhere else, and so I stopped typing that back to the person.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to reveal. I'm going to make a total meal of this. Although, do we have any music yet? I don't see any place for music. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we go. I've never heard this song.
Come on, Feldman.
What
are you guys
Allen
doing with
here.
these fucking music over here?
We're looking for Josh Allen. Mike.
Josh Allen. That's
All
not
right.
good. Oh,
I'll do some Amon Ra.
Amon-Ra?
hey, he did it in all day spaces.
Really?
Oh, that's right. You're
Or
gonna
no.
go to his game because of this. I think every Lions game somebody's going to it if they own a Amon-Ra moment.
Win utility for this moment.
Wow.
That's right, dude.
I do like Amon Ra.
Shouting it. Yeah.
Ooh, Josh
Oh,
Gordon.
sick.
There we
Let's
go.
go.
Is he still playing this year?
No.
Probably pop up around week 8. He'll be somewhere.
I'm kind of stoked to have a Josh Gordon moment. This is a nice pack. I'm feeling this. What do we got? Cam Newton. All
Dude.
right.
His last
Dude,
moment?
this is kind of some iconic players here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really can't believe they use the same music.
I know that's the only buzzkill part of this. It's like I can
See
share
music
my
on all the packs now too.
Yeah.
I can share my Audio Blocks account that has a massive library of royalty-free music. If they need anything to
Listen,
mix this up.
you could play the intro song. That'll cover, or the Team Hold intro song. That'll cover all the pack rips
Oh,
tonight.
God, I mean, Mike, if next time I do a marathon pack opening stream, I'll just use that to be the background soundtrack.
What else you got? over here?
John Boy doesn't know how Chrome tab is the only thing
I
that
thought
works.
you were-
yeah.
Oh God,
Did I botch it?
you botched it. I mean,
Oh, God.
It's okay. We don't need to hear the same. Oh wow, you have a.
Wait,
What? I don't even know what that is.
It didn't
What
let
is
me
that?
do. I thought it didn't let
are
me.
you talking
there
about
it is.
this
There it is.
this GIF?
Yeah. What is that?
First,
Right, now
you
we're
didn't
live,
know
right?
about our opening. Now you don't know about. We have a few of these. Anytime Pete mentions a shooting prop, anytime Jack's distracted,
Wow.
we have a drinking game. Anytime Andy's cat pops on the screen, all that good stuff.
StreamYard's evolved.
Well, you just got to know. How to
I should have.
manipulate
I should have pre-opened these packs. I forgot. they
Yeah,
took
that
me
was
around NFL.
Someone in the chat said you could tell Peter hasn't been on Top Shot for a while. Some of us pros knew that you claim in advance of the opening
big.
there. I'm still a pro, guys.
Wow, they teach you a
Well,
lot.
that's
in the
big. We
nesting
could skip
phase.
me. This one takes like 10 minutes usually.
mine was fairly clear. Here's the thing: you do just have to hold a monologue until this is done.
that is why I
Oh,
stopped buying on all day altogether, is because I came on here one time and they had to run out to the warehouse and come back. I was.
It is
not
actually
there.
Dave Feldman. He runs out there, he grabs it, he has to run back. It's an inefficient
We could,
process, but it brings a.
We could rip through some of the moments we care about here. So we're looking for Josh Allen. We're looking for. I think we got
Chase,
Joe
right?
Burrow in here. We do not have a Chase. I don't.
Oh, I
think.
thought I saw Chase.
He's in. Oh no, we do have Chase. Yeah, we do have a Chase. Yeah.
Okay.
We got let's see what other rookies. Javonte Williams. We just saw Amon-Ra. We've got Ben Skowronek. So,
Oh,
there's
hell
a
yeah.
rookie champ badge moment.
Cooper Scup.
Yeah, we do have Cooper Cup in here. Josh Palmer. Here we go.
Big
Now we're
Palmer
live.
guy.
Open packs, baby.
Are you trying to
Yeah,
get people
Josh
excited
Palmer.
about Josh Palmer in these packs? John?
I'm a big Palmer guy.
Yeah, I think It's worth pumping your 13th round best ball bags.
Yeah, John, stop pumping your best ball mania bags on this platform.
Amir Smith Marset, baby.
Oh, baby.
I am not confident enough to draft him. I usually stop around KJ Osborne for the Vikings.
I'll be honest, I don't know who that is.
6th-string receiver on the Vikings.
Hey, there we go.
Ooh, Antonio Gibson.
Yeah. See if this is anything worth anything.
I have him in my
little high stepping. All right.
I like the high step.
That's nice. Double Gibson?
Deep.
Oh. Defense. Wah, wah.
OTM not using. Sorry, go ahead, Bethany.
Why did they even put these in here?
Great point. Great point.
My biggest advice when I'm just gonna save it because that was way too painful. My biggest advice for people opening NFL all day packs is you're looking for people that either score touchdowns or throw touchdowns.
I like that.
That's all you're looking for.
That's words to live by. All right. Sorry, John Boy. No Josh Palmer for you. Maybe next time.
That's all right. It's all right.
Bethany.
I'm doing it.
Oh, you did it. Oh, you nailed it. Chrome tab, everything. Elite pack, hollow.
Yeah, that's it. The rest are just, they might be something, but I only choose one. So here I am.
You are, I'm feeling good for you tonight. I think you're going to run well here.
Oh, you did click on the link for the queue though. Yeah.
We're back.
This happens occasionally. You gotta go to the open, not the click the middle of the pack. They screwed it up and they can make you go to the pack
go
page
back
now.
Here. Sorry, I'm.
Well,
can you click back on your browser?
Yes, I can.
I am here for tech support whenever you need.
Yeah.
This right here open?
Open sesame.
Okay,
it's gonna be good. Hollow income.
We got hollow potential here.
Okay.
All right, let's go, Bethany.
I've never opened a hollow. I think I've maybe opened one rare ever with not a great number.
You're definitely getting a rare. At least a rare.
I'm a very
yeah, you are getting a rare.
I'm a young person in this space.
Guaranteed at least a rare though.
Just kidding.
Wow. Oh my God.
Bethany, you can make it.
Just kidding.
We got a rare.
Hey, there's the rare.
Rare number 12.
Oh, away from the jersey.
So close.
Wow.
Ogie.
Number 12 is pretty good. Love Bogdan.
I'm going to tweet him tonight and convince him that 13 is unlucky. He needs to go to 12, and then it'll be a very unique moment.
You should tag LG Doucette too, because he was the one that said he was going to be the face of European Top Shot.
Yeah.
We all remember that.
Okay. Well, I like that. I also like that it's a steal because I like defense.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I think you did go in the a little Mo Bamba.
Yeah, I went in the reverse order of like crescendo.
It's all right.
That's okay.
And
like
they're
Coca Pro Eric.
They're beating my Blazers here, so that's always good. Okay.
All right. Final one. Utah.
I have had a lot of his moments before. They might have gotten traded in for this pack, actually. So it's nice that they could come back to me. It's like a karma thing.
There you go. Yeah. What do they say? If you love something, let it go, and if it's meant to be, it'll come back, Bethany.
That is exactly what they say. That is
very nice. What's the market value? I mean, I know we don't care about price. We're true collectors. What's that Bogdan rare that she pulled, John Boy?
Probably looking about $50, maybe a little less. Actually, with the cereal, probably maybe 60.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but John Boy, what if Bethany's campaign to get him to change his jersey number tonight?
Something else. Can I offer something else? My drink of choice is water because I raise money for clean water. I'm running a race next month.
Nice.
And I have a Looks Rare Dirk jersey. It's actually like Dirk on the front, Party on the back, because it's actually blank on the back. So you could put whatever you wanted on the back, your own name, whatever, you might want to put 41, but whatever number you want. But I'll send this to whoever donates the most to my page tonight.
Whoa.
Go look at my Twitter profile, which is at Bethany L. Peters, and the link is there. So
there you go.
That's great.
Go ahead. It's a Dutch auction. Just whoever gets the money. You won't know. You won't know what anybody else is bidding. Just go do it.
Smart. There you go. That sounds great. Check out Bethany's Twitter, and a Dirk Nowitzki jersey could be yours.
Oh, it is size XXL. Just
all right.
You might want to know that.
You'll get it framed, I think, is the play for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Frames. Yeah, framed is better.
All right, Greg, it is your turn to give us a walk-off Cool Cats pack. Bethany, also, will you just mute your tab? I think we're still getting it coming in from your speaker.
Sorry.
It's a remix.
That would be.
Wait, where is?
Greg, I swear to God, if you turn your camera off and open this without us.
No, I didn't do that. Okay, I see it now.
Oh, wow, close call, Greg. I mean, there were going to be pitchforks if we didn't get to hear this Cool Cats music tonight. Real quick too, as we set up this walk-off pack here, John Boy, tell the people too about Momentum Labs, where they can check out the stuff you've been working on.
Yeah. We launched last week, momentumlabs.app. And there's a free side, there's a premium side to it. We've got moment tracking, flash challenge tracking. We got a nice little trade ticket tool. For the next time you've got to trade tickets, you can find the best ones to trade in your collection, and got a lot of things cooking. So it's gonna be fun. Momentumlabs.app.
Nice. Yeah, we have it in the Club Top Shot tweet tonight. I'll drop it in the show notes as well after. Check it out. I was browsing around on there. Very easy to sign up. You don't even have to give your password. Wow. You just need an email. Right, I did really appreciate that, John. I hate having to use my password manager. Mike, what else, anything else that people can check in on other than your 4.5 minute intro each morning?
Listen, Monday through Friday, we get the morning marketplace. I will say Wednesdays. So tomorrow our NFL all day from here on out. And tomorrow we've got TJ from On the Moment coming on to talk about OTM Rumble, which was announced today. And we'll probably talk about Jolly Jokers a little bit. And then on Fridays are our UFC Strike Day. So we're doing that. I think John and I might be doing some little foosball streaming as we get closer to the season. And even fucking now, you can go watch the All-Star game over at Playback with our man.
Is Greg holding that down tonight?
Greg's holding down the All-Star game right now.
Is anyone with him, or is he just by himself?
No. I think I was with him for an hour. I think some people joined him. I hope some people joined.
Good. That's good. I just imagine Greg just like eating peanuts by himself watching the
strike.
Game. Yeah, he's scoring it on his own notepad. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I know we didn't have the usual cast of characters. It's summer, everyone's busy, and very much appreciate Mike and John Boy hopping on to get back to our roots, talking some Top Shot, and of course Bethany and Greg, our Club Top Shot VIPs, swinging by. So Greg, I can't think of any better way to end this evening than with an old school walk-off Cool Cats pack.
I agree. Let's do it.
Let's see it.
There's some LaMelo TSDs in there, right?
Ooh, are there?
Oh yeah,
I think so.
And Edwards.
It's dropped too, so it's one of the first ones.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
I forgot all about it. I feel like I'm making money right now.
Let's go. Jamal Murray.
Wow. my cool cat said so good. The league. PJ!
Oh, my. There you go.
Thought he was going to be a Celtic.
Jimmy Butler, let's go.
There we go. All right, show us some 4K here.
Let's go.
4K.
Come on, baby.
Look at 277.
Oh.
Third. Beautiful, Greg. We love you guys. See you next time.